Hello everyone. Welcome to my Circ06 A Attempt. My name is Christian Williams. The date is October 30th, 2021, so tomorrow is Halloween. So for my Circ06 A Attempt, in the previous two attempts for the B and the C attempt, we've been learning how to program a piezo or speaker element to play a series of tones that resemble a melody. This attempt is similar to that, however mine might look a little different because I'm working off experience that I had while I was researching how to program my Strongman attempt to make that Final Fantasy theme play, victory theme play after you hit the button and hit the bell. So mine might look a little different than the B and C attempt because I'm working off of that knowledge, but it should still satisfy all the requirements outlined in the A attempts, where we are creating our own melodies and adding different components to make it interesting. So for my Circ A attempt, you might recognize that in a previous attempt where we were working with the servos, we had to include a library down here, like this one down here, in order to get all the variables and terms and so on that that servo would use. We are doing something similar here. And I wanted to show a feature that's included with this Arduino package. Under File here, there is, besides your Open, Recent, and Sketchbook, there are examples. These examples are very good to kind of learn from because they kind of explain what each line of the program is doing. And they are considered open source and included with this kit. So under Digital here, you can see there are a variety of options down here. We have 4 that are labeled tones. The one specifically that's good for this project is Tone Melody. What that looks like is this right here. So you can see this is exactly what the program would do if you pulled it up. And as you can see, it's in the public domain. But of course, we do want to give a shout out to the gentleman who created it here. What we do is we include a pitches library. So as opposed to the servo one, you can create your own library to define a series of things. Up here is where we include it. We create a new tab using this option underneath the anti-cheater bar here. And these are defining each note as we go up the scale. So the lowest note is B0, and it goes all the way up to D#8. So these all reference positions on the staff. So you have like middle C, which I believe is C. Oh no. Mom's going to kill me for this. Sorry. I think it's C3 is considered middle C. It might be C4, but as you can see, we're setting each note to its own specific value for our piezo to understand here. So that is exactly what I've done in my program. So you can see right here, there's the include pitches.h, and there is my pitches.h library right there. So just kind of would figure that would be important because this is not something that we did in the B and C attempt that I did with this attempt. So first, just like any program, I need to declare integers or values. In this case, our integers are the songs that we want our we want our Arduino jukebox to play. So the first one is wish. It'll be pretty obvious what wish refers to here. So we are setting it to an array with those brackets here, and we have our open bracket. This comment, you'll notice that we have 2 different arrays, one labeled wish, one labeled wish durations. Wish assigns the notes. Wish duration sets whether or not it's like a quarter note or an eighth note or a half note, that sort of thing. Both of these arrays, in order to work in this program, have to be the exact same size. So there have to be, which makes sense. Every note has a duration and a note and a sound associated with it. But our program will break if these arrays are different. It won't be able to complete or create or do anything that it needs to, and it actually can kind of break your device if you're not careful. So you can see we have C4, note F4, note F4, and then we have quarter note, eighth note, eighth note, eighth note. and so on all the way down, and it'll end with a half note. Anthem is the song that I wrote for this device, so this is my creation. And it'll become pretty obvious later on in the video here what kind of anthem it is. And then we have Totoro. This was, my mother loves the Miyazaki films. I do too. She adores Totoro, so I wanted to include the Totoro song here. As you can see, there are 99 values in that array. And then, because tomorrow is Halloween, I did want to play a Halloweeny song. There's a tutorial online with the Arduino of how to create this, what's known as the coffin song, which is a fairly recent song. And I just wanted to create it because the notes seem complex. 0, by the way, indicates a rest. You can see it's all quarter notes. So but tomorrow is Halloween, so coffins are related to Halloween. So there we go for that. Then we're defining our 4 buttons and our 4 LEDs. We've seen this in this program, setting the buttons and LEDs to input and output. And then we get on to the loop. So first, we're reading the state of each of the 4 buttons, determining whether they're on or off. And we're making sure all the LEDs are off by setting them to low. We've used if-else statements, or at least I've used if-else statements in previous attempts when you're working with buttons. But we're learning about them specifically in chapter 5, I believe it is, where we're learning about decision statements. So as opposed to just letting things perpetually play out in a loop, we can have our Arduino make a decision based off of a variety of commands. The most common is the if-else statement, which is similar to an if-then, if you've ever heard that. We just use else instead. And what this does is it allows our Arduino to wait until, or either wait or make a decision based off of whatever we program it in here. So right here we have if, and we have this is the condition that this f command will be executed. So the 0 in this case is if we hit the button, do this. So if the first button is hit, we're going to turn on the LED associated with that button, and we're going to play the song associated with that button. So in this case, this is the Wish song. Our piezo is plugged into 3, and then we have note duration. This note is a variable specific to this for statement to help it execute. As you can see, we've defined the size of the array that it's working with, and then it'll just move on to the next note until it gets to the last note in the song, and then it'll stop playing. Note duration is how we're setting up our tempo. 1,000 is a second, so you can kind of convert beats per minute into that if you know how many seconds are going to elapse. And then once it's done playing the song, it'll make sure that the piezo is not making any noise. But if that button isn't hit, but this button is, else if the second button set to pin 11 is hit, do something similar. Turn on the LED associated with that, play its song. So that's a little bit more in-depth, specifically because this week we're learning about the chapter about decision statements. Otherwise, I've been using these for whenever I include a button on any of my projects previously. But that gives you an idea. As you can see, there are 4 total conditions because there are 4 buttons. So what that looks like in real life, transitioning, is this wiring here. So you can see our piezo's been shoved up to the top. We have our 4 buttons, 4 LEDs, red wires connected to LEDs, orange connected to the buttons. Then we have our various resistors and connections to ground going up that line here. The green wire there, that's the one that's set to pin 3 for our piezo element. And so I mentioned that the first song was Wish, so that we do that by hitting this button. So that was We Wish You a Merry Christmas, because we are getting kind of close to that season. Second song, we kind of saw it there, that was Totoro. All right, now that song's over, so the LED shuts off. So the third one is Anthem. I am not at all sorry for that joke. Congratulations, you are now been indoctrinated into the Soviet Union. All right. And then the last song, it is Halloween, so here's the coffin song. All right, so that was my Circ06 A attempt. Oh, look, the communism is gone. I had a lot of fun with this project, as you might imagine. I had a lot of fun writing the Anthem song because I knew it was going to be a very stupid joke. But I also enjoyed playing a lot of songs just to give you kind of an idea of where I am in terms of songs. So here in my sketchbook, in Circ06, you can see all of these songs that I've been playing with here. So I have the Doom theme and a lullaby, and even in my test sketches, I have Game of Thrones, Megalovania, Pink Panther. You could find all sorts of songs online. I'm just converting it over into this one to have it linked to each button. So I hope you enjoyed that. Sorry, Professor, to subjecting you to communism. And I hope you enjoy the weekend and a happy Halloween.